All right, everyone. For this week, week number 5, we are going to proceed and continue with our discussion last week. For this week, let's try to review first on common percentages. For common percentages, we are going to focus on the following percentage: 100, 50, 25, 10, and 1%. So I'd like you to be familiar with these because we will be using this in order to find the other percentages. So recall 100% is equivalent to the whole or the original value. 50% is equivalent to half the original value. 25% is just 1/4, meaning it's the same as dividing by 4. 10% is equal to 1/10 if you are to convert it into a fraction, which is just the same as dividing by 10. And recall when you divide by 10, you just move the decimal one place to the left. And of course, 1% is the same as 1 over 100 or simply dividing by 100. So in this case, it's still moving the decimal place, but this time 2 places to the left. So let's try to have some examples. Pause this video if you need to copy or if you need to study before we proceed with the examples. All right, let's proceed. 100% of 80, again, it's the whole or original value. It's just equal to 80. Now, 50% of 70. Remember, 50% is half. So half of 70 will just be 35. 25% of 96. 25% is simply 1/4, or it's just the same as dividing by 4. Hence, 25% of 96 will just be 24. You could also divide 96 by 2, which is 48, to get the 50%. And to get the 25%, you just have to divide it by 2 again. So it's like 96 divided by 2 is 48, divided by 2 is 24. 24 is 25%. Now, next is 10% of 150. Remember, 10% is just 1/10, or simply dividing by 10. So all you have to do is to move the decimal place 1 position to the left. So if this is where the decimal place is originally, we just move it 1 point to the left. Therefore, it's now equal to 15. All right, and finally, 1% of 107, this is just the same as dividing by 100. So locate the decimal place first and then move it 2 places to the left. 1, 2. Therefore, 1% of 107 will just be 1.07. You might have different ways of doing this. It's up to you, but I'd like you to add on this new learning or this new skill because this will come in handy later on. Let's have more examples. So 100% of 124, that's the same value, 124. 50% of 205, half of it, it's 102.5. 25% of 160, so 1/4, or divided by 4, that gives us 40. 10% of 58, move the decimal place 1 position to the left, that's 5.8. And of course, 1% of 1,500, moving the decimal place 2 positions to the left, that's 50. Okay, I hope at this time you're now familiar with the common percentages. Let's proceed to the next part of our review, which is on finding the percentage of quantities. So for instance, what is 45% of 180? Now there are many ways of doing this. Maybe you have your own method, and maybe when you were in PYP, you were taught to get 180 or to get 45% of 180, you just need to convert 45% to a decimal, which is just 0.45, and multiply that with 180. That's actually correct, or whatever method you have there is actually correct. But what I wanted to promote and to use in this particular example would be by using the common percentages so that you can do this mentally. Okay, at least when you go to the store, you can use the concept, the skill in finding the percentage of quantities mentally. Okay, for you to be able to do that mentally, you need to use the common percentages, because the common percentages are those percentages that are easy to use or easy to compute. Okay, so if we wanted to find 45% of 180, all you need to do is to find possible breakdown of 45%. Here, there is no particular answer. There are many possible answers. It depends on what perspective you're looking at. All right? So I'll only be presenting three possible breakdowns, three possible ways to break the 25% into common percentages, but it doesn't mean that those which I have not written here are not correct. They are also correct. It depends on uh, in what perspective you have viewed them. So here I have three different ways of breaking down 45%. So 45% could be equal to 40%, by which 40% is 4 times 10%, the common percentage plus 5%. Take note, this is just the same, or this will just total 45%. So 4 times 10 is 40, plus 5, that's 45. Aside from that, we could also break 45% into 50% minus 5%. This is very obvious. Or we could say 45% is just equal to 25% plus 20%, by which 20% is 2 times 10%. All right? Now, by the way, 5% here is not a common percentage, but then since 5% is half of 10%, so you could actually just get 10% and then get half of it for you to get 5%. Sorry, to get 5%. All right? So let's begin. If we go for the first breakdown, we need to find 10% and 5%. And 10% of 180 is 18. 5% of it is half of 10%, which is 9. 50% is 90, and 25% is 45. So using these values, we can now compute what is 45% of 180. And for the first breakdown, it's 4 times 18, which is the 10%, plus 9, which is the 5%. And simplifying this will give you 81. So 45% of 180 then is 81. All right? So no need for decimals, no need for multiplying decimals. Now, how about if I use the second breakdown? So for the second breakdown, I need the 50% and the 5%. So it's 50% minus 5%, which is just 90 minus 9, or simply 81, which is the same with the first. So see, whichever breakdown you use, it will still lead you to the same answer. And finally, the third breakdown, possible breakdown, is 25% plus 2 times 10%. 25% is 45, so we can just say 45 plus 2 times 18, or 45 plus 36, which will again give you 81. All right? Let's have another example. What is 84% of 120? Again, I am only representing three different breakdowns. And these are the possible breakdowns. 84% could be broken down into 50 plus 30 plus 4%. Or 84% could just be broken down into 75% using the common percentage 25 plus 10%. So 75 plus 10 is 85. Minus 1%, that gives us 84. So again, it depends on how you look at it. Also, we could look at it at the perspective of 84% is equal to 100% minus 10, so that gives us 90, minus 5, that gives us 85, minus 1, that gives us 84. So I'm using here common percentages. So here we'll be using the following values of the percentage. All right. So we have 10, 5, 50, and 25. Of course, we also need 1% here. 1% will just be moving the decimal 2 places to the left, 1, 2. So 1% is 1.2. So let's begin. So for the first breakdown, that will just be 60, which is the 50%, plus 3 times 12, which is the 10%. This gives us the 30% then, plus 4 times 1.2. 1.2 being the 1%. And this gives us 100.80. All right? Now, what if we use the second breakdown? For the second breakdown, we will need the 25%, the 10%, and the 1%. Now, find the values of the 25, 10, and the 1%. So, if you have seen it already, then we can now substitute it. So, 3 times 30 plus 12 minus 1.2 still will give you 100.80. Now, what if we use the last possible breakdown here? So, we need here the 100, the 10, the 5, and the 1%. Look for them first. All right, after which you can now substitute 120 minus 12 minus 6 minus 1.2 still giving you 100.80. So this is how useful common percentages are. Let's now have the last example for the review. 71% of 450. So again, I'm only presenting 3 different ways to break it down, but there could be more than this. So 71% could be broken down as 50% plus 20% plus 1%. Or 71% could be broken down as 100% minus 30, which is 70, then plus 1%. And finally, 71% could be broken down as 3 times 25, which gives you 75% minus 4%. So here we will need the following percentages: 10, 1, 50, 25%. All right. So let's try to use the first breakdown. Look for the values of 50, 10, and 1%. Substitute them, and you get 319.50. So 71% of 450 then is 319.50. Now, if we use the second breakdown, look for the values of 100, 10, and 1%. And once you have found it, substitute the values. So you will get 450 minus 3 times 45 plus 4.5, still giving you the same answer. So 71% of 450 is 319.50. And finally, the last breakdown will still lead us to the same answer. So this is 25%, which we were able to get earlier, and this is 1%. Okay? And that is how we find percentage of quantities. Let's now proceed to our current lesson, which is on percentage increase and decrease. All right? Now, I'd like you to observe this particular problem. The original price of a product is $80. Its amount is increased by 15%. So what is the new value? So if you try to look at it, we have a product whose price is $80. Now, the amount is increased by 15%. So we are looking for the new value after the increase. For you to be able to visualize this, we can think of it this way. So we have this product whose amount is 80. So this is the original amount of the product. Now, since we are increasing it, so we are adding a certain percentage, another value for it, which is 15% of the original. And this is something that we do not know. So that we will get the new value, we have to find what is 15% of the original product. Hence, giving us the way to find the percentage increase. So the method would be to calculate what is 15% of 80. And in this case, 15% of 80, if we use the common percentages, will just be 10% plus 5%. So 10% of 80 is 8, and 5% will just be half of 8, which is 4. Therefore, 15% will just be 8 plus 4, or simply 12. Now, this is the amount of increase. So this is how much the value would be increased by. Now, in this case, the total amount now would be 80 plus 12, or equal to $92. So the new price of the product is $92. And this is what percentage increase is. Let's proceed to another example. A country applies 24% VAT. VAT means value added tax, usually added to original prices of products. How much will a $20 worth of candies be sold after VAT? Again, the original amount is $20, and then after VAT, this amount should be increased by 24%. So again, we take a look at it as 100%, which is equal to 20. But because of VAT, value added tax, we increase the amount by 24%. All right? And right now, we are actually clueless as to what 24% is equal to. All right? So this is something that we do not know yet as of the moment. Okay? So again, here we have seen that 100% is 20, the original price, and it is increased by 24%, which we do not know how much. Okay? So in this case, for us to find how much the new price is, we have to calculate 24% of 20, by which 24% can just be calculated as 20% plus 5% minus 1%. So these are common percentages. So 10% of 20 is 2, hence 5% is 1. And 1% move 2 decimal places to the left, that's 0.2. Therefore, the amount of increase is 4.8. So we are going to increase 20 by 4.8, which is the 24 equivalent to the 24%. So the total amount now would be $24.8. And this is how we compute percentage increase. All right. This time, let's now go to the other concept, which is percentage decrease. So you might have noticed, or you might be able to predict already that percentage decrease is about reducing the value and not increasing it because of the word decrease. Okay? Now, I'd like you to read this one first, pause the video and read and understand the situation. So here we are looking for the selling price after a discount of 35%. When we say discount, meaning we are reducing the price by a certain percentage, in this case 35%. So for you to understand further, let's take a look at it using figures. So we think of the original price, 100%, which is equal to 160. However, because of the discount, this original price would be reduced by a certain amount, all right, which is equal to 35%, and by which we do not know how much yet. Okay, so in this case, we have two methods. Method 1 is the same as the previous method for percentage increase. Calculate 35% of 60. So 35% can be broken down into 30% plus 5%, by which 10% of 160 is 16. Therefore, 5% will be half of it, which is 8. So this will now be 3 times 16 plus 8, or equal to 56. So this is now the discount. Therefore, the price would be lessened by $56. So the discounted price would now be 160 minus 56, or $104. This is the first method. Now we have a second method for percentage increase. The second method is analyzing this object here. So if the original price is 100%, and if we are to lessen this by 35%, ask yourself this question: how much percentage will you be paying? What percentage of the original price will you be paying then? Again, take 2. The original price is 100%, right? But you're given a discount of 35%. So if you try to analyze it from 100%, what percentage of the original price will you be paying then after a discount of 35? Pause this video and try to analyze that question. For those who say 65%, then you are correct. In other words, after the 35% discount, it's the same as paying only 65% of the original price, because the 35% has been removed. This is your discount. You will not be paying this anymore. So you're only paying 65%, which is 100 minus 35. So method 2 is find the remaining percentage, which in this case is 65%. Therefore, since you are only paying 65%, so we can only calculate 65% of 160, and that is what you are supposed to pay for. So if we try to look at it, 65% can be broken into 50 plus 10 plus 5%, by which 50 is 80, and 10 and 5 were already computed previously, so that will be 80 plus 16 plus 8, which gives us $104. See, we were able to directly find how much the selling price or the discounted price is $104. This is the difference between method 1 and method 2. So if you wanted to know how much the amount of discount is, still you could find it by subtracting 160 by 104. So you would know how much is the discount. meaning how much is the price, how much was being uh, taken away from the original price. So that's the price that you did not pay at all. So that would be 160 minus 104, 56. So 56 is the discount price, meaning the price that was taken away from the original, meaning you did not pay this anymore. This is your, we call this as discount. All right. So that's method 1 and method 2. Let's try to have another example. This will be the last example. Pause and read the situation and try to understand this one. Okay, again, we can take a look at it as 100%, which is equivalent to 180. And it is being said that the number of employees should be reduced by 56%. So this is the amount that will be taken away from the original 100%. So method 1 is to calculate what 56% of 180 is. All right. So 56% can be broken into 50 plus 5 plus 1%. So 50% of 180 is 90. 5% of it is just half of 10%, by which 10% is 18. Therefore, 5% is 9. 1% is moving this decimal 2 places to the left. That's 1.8. So that will be 90 plus 9 plus 1.8. All right. So adding it up together, we get 100.8 employees. Now, since we cannot have a 0.8 employee, so we can round this up to approximately 101 employees. So we're going to remove 101 employees. We're going to reduce the store's employees by 101. Therefore, the allowed number of employees will just be 79 employees. So this is the decrease, not the discount, but the decrease, all right? The decrease in the number of employees. Now, if you go for method 2, you have to find the remaining percentage. So again, analyze. If from 100%, you're going to remove 56%, so what percentage of 180 will be left? Obviously, this will be 44%. So for you to find how many should be left, how many should the company retain or the store retain, you just have to compute the remaining 44%. 44 can be broken down into 40% plus 5%, which is 45, minus 1%. So take note that 10% is 18, 5% is half of 18, which is 9, and 1% is 1.8. So if you simplify this gives us 79.2. Or we cannot have a 0.2, round it down, so this is now 79. Therefore, the allowed number of employees is only 79. See, it's the same. If you wanted to know how many employees should be reduced or removed, then we have to subtract 79 from 180. Thus, we will get 101 employees. So it means that to abide by this, to follow this, the store has to remove 101 of its employees. So the allowed number of employees is only 79. And that is what percentage increase and decrease is. Now, for your assignment or activity, I'd like you to answer the exercise which will be provided in Google Space. Now, you may start with red or yellow depending on which of the activities you find fit for you. But in our next meeting, you should be able to reach up until green level. Thank you everyone for listening.